Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good evening. My name is Dr. Zain Lada, and I would like to welcome you to our Health Insights webinar entitled Ready to be Transformed, the New You. Understanding the food choices we make on a day to day basis is of the utmost importance, as it has a huge impact on our overall health and projected quality of life. These food choices affect our digestion, our energy levels, and our very biochemistry, among others. Being empowered with the right knowledge in this area will help us to optimize our health by choosing the right foods to eat for each of our meals every single day. Today, we have Miss Ahlam Ali with us, who will share some very useful knowledge on the benefits of eating a healthy diet and how this will impact our overall health. Miss Ali is a published author and a certified nutrition and weight loss consultant, as well as a hypnotherapist practicing in the UAE and internationally. Miss Ali is also a life coach and is trained in NLP and EFT therapies. Over the course of her successful career, Miss Ali has created her very own award winning and life changing holistic weight loss and fitness program called Power Living. The results of Miss Ali's programs have been outstanding and have contributed significantly towards her winning the Middle East Business Achievement Award from amongst 250 companies across the Middle East. We are delighted to have her here today with us to speak about the importance and benefits of a healthy diet and lifestyle. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome Miss Ahlam Ali. Over to you, Ahlam.
Sadly, as we all know, or maybe we don't think about it enough, probably because we're kind of brainwashed with a lot of messages that are sent across through to us, whether it's through advertising, whether it's through the food you buy in the supermarkets, how they actually store that food, how they shelve it is also quite subliminal messaging. So sadly, the health has no idea about food, something to think about. And the food industry, who is trying to feed us, has no idea about health. So the health industry is trying to cure us through a lot of medication and not working in conjunction with the food industry to actually allow food to be our medicine. We eat things that we're not supposed to be eating because they keep bombarding us with the message that it's good for you, it's FDA approved, it's got vitamin A, B, C, whatever. However, when you look further and learn to read the labels, you'll realize that actually it's full of sugar, of fats, or additives. So have a think about this. It makes you think. It kind of struck me quite a lot when I actually read this, and I sat back and thought about it. So both these industries don't know anything about each other's industries, and yet we allow them to feed us and try to heal us. Something to think about. So today's session, I'm actually going to ask, what if, our very first what if we were to actually food and health in our own hands, our own food, our own eating habits, and our own nutritional input and needs? What if that, as well as our health, we were to take into our own hands? What would we do differently? Would we still do more? Would we actually eat more packaged or unpackaged foods? When I say unpackaged, I mean more sort of produce-oriented, fresh foods, whole foods, rather than pre-packaged. Would we skip meals, or would we have all three meals? What would we have for these meals? What would we have for our snacks? Also, if we were to take food and health into our hands, would we eat the old energy, the sort of rotting, or would we go shop on the periphery of a supermarket, which consists of all the fresh fruits and vegetables? Have a think. What would you do differently? Maybe just make a quick note. Maybe try and cook 3 times a week for the rest of the week, so cook for 2 days. Maybe order something from your local farm fresh boxes that are available at the moment, rather than buying foods that are packaged. So farm fresh boxes, etc., vegetables and fruits. So which ones of these would you do? At least pick one. Okay, here's another what if. What if you finally realize, I understand all of you are really young people at the moment, all the youth. What if you actually realized now, rather than when you're 50 or 60, that your body is actually a Rolls Royce and you're feeding it diesel and trashy food? How would you treat a Rolls Royce versus, for instance, a rickshaw? Would you give it more care, more love, more attention, better fuel, regular cleaning, regular services? Given that analogy, how would you now actually treat your body? What would you do differently with your body? Write down 3 things for me. Would you have regular checkups with the doctors, yearly checkups? Would you go for massages? Would you go for manicures, pedicures? Would you sit in the bath a bit more, maybe once a week, just to relax and rejuvenate? And what sort of food would you actually buy now that you know your body's a Rolls Royce? The best quality food, right? So if you're choosing salmon, smoked salmon, would you choose something that's mid-range, really cheap, or would you choose really expensive? Of course, depending on your budget, never ever. I mean, the quality of your food should never go below medium. Yeah, it always pays to pay for good food in the long run, as well as short run. It means less medical bills, it means less pesticides, less preservatives, all of that. So write down 3 things that you would do differently if you realized your body was a Rolls Royce. I'll give you 30 seconds and then we move on to the next slide. Think outside the box, guys. Think, what would you do differently? Would you exercise regularly? Would you find a health buddy? Lots of things to think about. And here is a continuation. Will you give your body the same attention at the moment? Do you give your body the same attention as your car? Many of us are really pedantic and we have OCD about our cars, for instance. So we keep it really clean on the inside, we have it cleaned outside. So when people sit in our cars, it all smells good, it's all clean, it's all fresh, and people go, that's quite nice. So same way, do you do that for your body? Do you go for regular services? Do you go for weekly cleaning for your body? Okay, fine, you can clean your own bodies, showers, baths. But what I mean is, do you actually get pampering done? Yeah. Do you actually wear your clothes and go out with pride? Or do you kind of cover up in loose clothes because you kind of feel, oh, here's a bulge, there's a bulge. So do you drive, for instance, you drive your car with pride? Do you walk upright and with pride? Or do you kind of, bend over a little because you don't want to make too much of a statement when you arrive into a room? You wear baggy clothes, you wear black, you wear dull clothes so nobody notices you. All of these, what if you actually realize that you were worth $1 million, your body is, and it's how you should be treating it, with pride and joy, right? Here's another what if, which we all struggle with. And guess what, guys? I actually learned how to say no during the isolation and following. So even today, if I'm asked out, I think 1 out of 10 times I say yes, but the rest of the time I say no thanks. Just because I learned during the isolation, and I think the isolation actually gave us all time to sit back and think. Everything broke down, all the regular systems, all the regular setups, the routines that we had, everything broke down. It gave you time to sit back and analyze what is actually important for you guys. What's important for me? What's important for my family is not necessarily the same thing that's important for me. So some of my friends would be very happy to still go out for drinks and sugary drinks, alcohol, late night parties, etc., smoking, whereas I've actually learned to say no. Initially I used to feel a little unsure about saying no because I'd be offending people, but then I realized it's okay to say no. It's okay if you tend to offend a couple of people or a whole group of people, as long as you do it politely and say, look, it doesn't work for me. I can't do this anymore. I really appreciate you inviting me. However, I really can't do it. And you know what? Your real friends will get it, will understand. So today, what if you actually learned to say no when you're offered sugary drinks? How many times do we say, yeah, we shouldn't be having, it's a dialogue in our head, we shouldn't be having this, but okay, she's going to mind if, or she's going to feel bad, let's just do this. Or when you're offered to go out for clubbing and out to parties. I'm not saying you give it up already. I'm just saying be mindful about these things. Okay, all of us have been through different phases of our lives where we've enjoyed our lives and enjoyed partying. However, does enjoying a party necessarily mean drinking or smoking? Something to think about. It may not be everybody's cup of tea. It may be yours. Maybe, you need to rethink what's really, do you feel good after it? Do you feel good the next morning? Ask yourself those questions. The next thing is when you're served food late at parties. I mean, I was at a party a couple of days ago, and honestly, the food wasn't served before midnight, and I had left before midnight. And I realized I had obviously eaten before I went out. So it was easier for me to say no to these heavily laden foods that are not really good whatever time you eat them, but worse when you eat them at midnight. So, excuse me, I actually learned to say, I'm really good, thank you very much, but I'm going to have to go. And I didn't feel bad about it. I used to feel guilty about it. When you're asked to go out to eat at junk food places, burgers and sort of McDonald's, KFC, sorry, I shouldn't be saying the name specifically, but I don't know how else to get the message across. What is junk food? Junk food is anything that does not actually add nutritious vitamins, minerals, any sort of nutrition to your body. It's empty calories, and in fact, it's really bad for you. So that's how we say junk. We kind of call something junk food when it has no nutritious value. Okay, and assume you are actually a fit and healthy person, or trying to get fit and healthy, and you like going for your walks, you like going to the gym. What would you do if some of your friends actually said, listen, forget it, let's just go party tonight, or let's go out for a pizza? What would you say? So think about what is the worst thing that could happen if you said no. You lose a few friends, then they weren't friends in the first place. So yeah, something to think about. What if, there's a lot of what ifs, yeah? Just because I want you guys to actually start thinking and asking these questions to yourselves and to your families. Make sure you take all this information to your families, whether it's your siblings, your parents, although my parents think I'm completely crazy when I talk to them about no wheat, no gluten, no dairy. I struggle with that. So at your own risk, take it to your families and see what they think. At least start the process of thinking for them as well. Yeah, like for them to start thinking. So what if you implemented just one good habit? And think about this, guys. Which of these would you pick? So if I asked you to pick 3 of these, one for each of the coming weeks, think about which one you would choose first. Take the easiest one first, okay? So would you choose walking daily for 30 minutes? Whether you do it in the morning or evening or just lunchtime, that could be something quite easy to implement. What if you cut out all sugars and processed foods? So that includes sodas, biscuits, packaged orange juices, etc. Why not make your own fresh orange juice every morning? Why not add a bit of honey in your tea and your coffee if you are having something sugary, or if you want your coffee to be sweet? Excuse me. Processed foods being biscuits, donuts, chocolates, pre-made dinners, bottled sauces, etc. If you were all to read the labels, what would you actually see there? Think about it. There's very interesting things going on. So if they make anything low fat, they add sugars and sodium to actually make it more interesting. And there are taste inspectors and taste designers out there sitting in these labs trying to make all these really bad for us foods really exciting to our palates so they become addictive. We actually are currently living in a sugar economy. Everything has sugar in it. And few statistics have shown that kids and young adults are actually having 34 teaspoons of sugar every day. Whether it's you adding the sugar or whether it's something that comes pre-sugared, whether it's coffees and almond milk, or whether it's your sauces, whether it's your pre-prepared dinners, altogether, young adults are actually having 34 teaspoons of sugar every single day, which is a shocking statistic. Next, what if you could actually cut out all packaged foods? Everything that comes pre-packaged. Think about it. What if you could cook one meal at home to start with in a week and make 2 or 3 different portions? Somebody who's actually, I think, attending this Zoom seminar, I gave them the idea to cook for 3 days, and they actually have done that. And it was salmon and vegetables thrown into a frying pan, a cast iron frying pan, some herbs, some lemon, some spices, cover it up, and it's good to go. He's made it for like 4 days. And he works long hours, and he actually has done it and comes home to healthy, clean food that is easily warmed and is still nutritious. What if you actually start going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week to build muscle? Because you do know that muscle actually makes your metabolism work much faster. So if you're sitting all day, and even if you do 20 minutes in the gym, you're doing your body a huge favor. So whatever it is, run up and down the stairs if you have to, get movement in, because I was saying this to somebody earlier, sitting is the new smoking. It's a killer. Because not just the fact that actually makes you fat, it actually affects your cardiovascular health as well. So the more activity you get in a day, the healthier you're going to be. Aim for 10,000 steps. Please write this down, guys. 10,000 steps. Get one of these little monitors that talk to your smartphones, or even your smartphones will actually record your steps. So get those steps in there. Start with 5 this week, 7 next week, 10 the following week. Build up these happy habits, these good habits, and choose friends. Finally, no, well, I've missed the liters of water. 2 to 3 liters of water, clean, filtered water. And this does not mean tea, coffee. It does not mean sodas. It does not mean any of that. Pure, clean water. Put a slice of lemon if you don't like the taste of water. I just put lemon, berries, and mint. Finally, do not choose friends who will make you fat. Guys, really, really, it's important. Choose friends who have healthy habits. Whatever habits your friends have, you will have those. You will pick those habits up. What if all your friends are the sort who want to just couch around, watch TV, trash TV, and eat pizzas and drink beers? What are you going to do most likely? You're going to fall into that habit. So start going to the gym. You'll find a couple of healthy friends. Get out to eat with them after the gym session. That's what I do. I found a few very healthy friends. I eat out with them, or they come home to eat, because I love cooking and I love eating everything from scratch, and just keep it clean. Go for a run with them, go to the gym with them, compare notes, what you're eating. Your healthy friends will make you healthy. So yeah, make sure you do that. So which one of these will you choose? Which 3 of these actually? Please write them down very quickly. Week 1, which one you're going to choose. Week 2, and it builds up. So the week 1 habit moves into 2 as well. So you've got 2 good habits in week 2. And in week 3, you'll have 3 good habits. I'll give you guys 30 seconds and then we move on. Keep these notes, everybody. Make sure you keep these notes. Okay. So what if you were to go away from this session, clean up your kitchen cupboards and your fridge of all the junk food that you have in there? And that includes sugar. It includes iodized salt. Why not get Himalayan salt? Throw out all cans of beans. Okay, don't throw them out. Give them to somebody needy. Although I hate giving foods that I can't eat to somebody else, because it's kind of passing on unhealthy habits. But just get rid of them. And replace them with all clean, healthy options. So choose a day in a week. Maybe it's a Friday, maybe it's a Saturday. Today's a good day, being Saturday. Clean out your cupboards, clean out your fridge, clean out your pantry, replace it with all clean, healthy options. And whether you choose gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free lifestyle, make sure everything is pure, clean, and wholesome and fresh. Anything that's made in nature is what you need in your refrigerator and in your cupboards. Anything that's man-made and has a whole list of ingredients, please avoid it, because inevitably all of these prepackaged foods have E numbers, which are all carcinogenic. And another little note, anything that ends in ROSE, dextrose, maltose, OSE, all of that, fructose, all of that, that's sugar, and that's disguised. So they won't write sugar, the manufacturers do not write the word sugar, but they will write maltose, dextrose, fructose, all sorts of derivatives. Okay, so look out for that in all your labels. Ideally, buy nothing with labels. Plan and buy food that you can cook during the week. So you can actually bulk buy. When I say bulk buy, at least for 3 days. Keep it in your fridge. Spend 1 day just planning your dinners. Even if you do just dinners, so do maybe 4 or 5 dinners. So you come home, it's there for you. If you chose, you could do 2 different items and then switch them around. So today, what you're having for dinner could be lunch tomorrow, and then could be dinner the next day, right? Same way, you can actually make 2 or 3 dishes at the same time, so you don't have to, the prep has all happened. Maybe get a helper. Sometimes that's what helps. You get a freelance helper to do all the chopping for you and all the portioning for you, and the cleaning up after. Think about it. It actually works. And find a walking buddy that you commit to. Yeah? Calories, those beautiful, sneaky little creatures. We all hate them. Everybody dreads the word calories. However, calories you can make friends with. Let me tell you honestly, calories are your friends. Now, not all calories are created equal. Calories from a donut as opposed to from quinoa salad or from a yogurt with fruits in it are totally different calories. One's fully sugar laden and carbs and all bad things, the wheat, the gluten, all of that. Whereas the bowl of quinoa salad or the yogurt is actually really good for you. So it's adding nutritional value, but they're probably the same number of calories, right? So choose your calories intelligently. Make friends with calories and choose the intelligent calories. Do not just choose the empty calories. Choose the calories that have the nutritionist value. So so if you're eating clean foods, generally I'm asked by my weight loss clients, if you're eating clean foods, how many calories should I be having for lunch? How many for dinner? And I say, listen, if you're eating clean food, if you're having, cereal is not clean food, by the way, people have asked me this question. Cereals out of a box are full of sugars and preservatives. So they're very synthetic and should be avoided. So when people actually ask how many calories at breakfast, I said, do not count calories. Have a wholesome meal, whether it's fresh eggs with a piece of toast, with some potatoes. Do not count calories, and some vegetables, spinach, etc., asparagus. Don't count the calories. Just eat what's really clean and healthy and wholesome. And then you never need to count calories for the rest of their life. Okay. Yes, I think we've just covered all of these points. Moving on. So here are your 5 top tips, guys. If you like, make a note of this, or you can do a quick screenshot of this particular slide. How about you pick all of these one by one and implement them in your life, in your daily life, and your mind and your body, honestly, will thank you for it. So, like I said in the previous slide, eat clean and intelligently. So a donut and a coffee in the morning versus eggs and toast and some spinach and some asparagus, some hash browns, whatever it takes, right? Good fuel with a glass of homemade orange juice rather than out of a pack, out of Tetra Pak or a bottle pre-made, because that's full of sugars and preservatives. What if you learn to, when you eat to live and not live to eat? So eat until you are 80% full. I think this kind of trend to overeat is because we didn't know, our ancestors didn't know where our next meal would come from. So we would all eat a lot and then store that food in our tummies as fat in the appropriate places, because we didn't know where our next meal would come from. Now, alhamdulillah, we all know where our next meal is coming from. It's all pre-planned. Do not stress. You know, when we were young, we were told, eat up everything on your plate, or you have to sit there until you finish it. Break away from that mindset. First of all, serve yourself a little less on your plate. Finish it all, yes, but make sure you're only 80% full. You don't need to be 100% full, right? Know where your food comes from. What is the source of your food? Okay, if it's, for instance, if your chicken is coming in from one of these farm, one of these horrible factory farms where the chickens are tightly squeezed together, they develop all sorts of viruses, etc., and then they're given the antibiotics and as well as the hormones to fatten them up. Is that the sort of chicken that you actually want to eat? Because that's actually literally transporting all of that, transferring all of the viruses and everything that they've got on happening in there into our systems. Also keep in mind ethical farming, guys, because in all honesty, when animals are not treated right, and when they're actually treated really, really violently, and they're all watching each other being slaughtered, there's a lot of fear and angst and anger within these animals that we're ingesting. It's that energy. I know it sounds like a really woo-woo sort of concept, but trust me, it really affects your own energies. You'd be more angry and stressed out if you're eating animals that are wrongly slaughtered. I mean, obviously, I always say it's better to go for a plant-based diet with a little bit of fish or a little bit of organic, healthy, free-range chickens in there in your diet. But however, just be aware of your source. And even the vegetables you eat are very important, because the soil, the biodiversity of the soil where our food is grown is really important. That is what's going to dictate whether we have food intolerances and food allergies. So the more biodiverse your soil is, I know it's difficult sometimes to actually track down where your food is from. Buy local if you can, because those are the foods that will suit your body as well. Many of us have intolerances and allergies because we're eating foods from, foods that travel months and weeks, and that's not really right for us. So try and buy local produce as much as you can. And finally, I know you've all been told this, get your body moving. Just 10K steps. Promise yourselves 10K steps and you're doing fine. That's it. Right. This is the most amazing, wholesome way to actually look at your family. 12 steps to better health. What I want you all to do is actually think about all of these that I'm going to go through. We're nearly at the end, so relax. I know there's a lot of information in here today. So I want you to score yourselves on a scale of 1 to 10 on all of these 12 areas. So how much water do you drink in a day? Very quickly, score 0 to 10. If you're having enough water, like 3 liters, give yourself 10. And if you're having 1 glass a day or just lots of coffee, give yourself 1. We're going to go through this very quickly, guys. Do you actually cook at home? That's number 2. If you cook 1 meal a week, give yourself 1 or 2. If you're cooking for yourself daily, or you cook enough for the whole week, give yourself an 8. Okay, number 3, do you experiment with whole grains? How many of you have tried quinoa? How many of you have tried ragi? All the good grains, the millets, they're really good for you. So if you haven't tried any of those, give yourself a nice big 0. And if you have tried them and you experiment with them, then give yourself an 8, 9, or 10. If you regularly experiment with them, then give yourself a 10. How many green vegetables do you eat in a day? Do you have your 5 a day portion? If you don't, if you're having one portion, give yourself 1 or 2. If you're having all your 5 portions, pat yourself on the back and give yourself a 10. And do you all have you all experimented with sweet vegetables like sweet potatoes, etc.? Do you try root vegetables, potatoes, sweet potatoes, yams, etc.? Again, give yourself a quick score, and then we move on to number 6, which is to do with seafood. How many of you actually eat seafood or include seafood in your daily diet? You know we all need omegas, right? For our brains to function well. Quick score, and then how many of you eat fewer processed foods? If you eat a lot, give yourself a 10. No, actually give yourself a 0 if you eat a lot of processed foods. If you eat less, then give yourself a good 10. Okay, number 8 seems a little upside down. Yeah, how often do you actually treat your body and pamper your body? Do you take baths? Do you go for mani-pedis? Do you relax? Do you meditate? Do you exercise? Give yourself a score. And then number 9, your relationships. Do you generally have toxic relationships where people take advantage of you or you are manipulating people? So whether you are manipulative or you are being manipulated, that's a toxic relationship. If you're constantly stressed out and on edge and constantly demands are being made on your time without you being reciprocated, that's a toxic relationship. So you need to score that as well. And these could be relationships at work as well. So just make sure you include that. Finally, number 10, do you enjoy good physical activities? What do you do for physical activities? Do you do it once a week? Do you do it every day? If you do it every day, give yourself a 10. And number 11, what you do for your work, for your living, do you actually enjoy it? Or do you just go there for the paycheck and you absolutely hate your job, or you absolutely hate the people you work with or your boss? You've got to make sure you put that in. So if you hate your work and your surroundings and the people around you, give yourself a big fat 0. Otherwise, score yourself on there as to how happy you are at the end of the day. And finally, do you have any sort of spiritual practice? Do you pray daily? Do you actually meditate? Or do you even believe that there is a bigger deity up there who is responsible and who you can actually talk to regularly? So once you've scored yourself, what I want you to do is think about if we were to put the scores on these lines, on these spokes of the wheels. If they're all about 5 or they're all about 6 or 7, you have a fairly smooth ride. But in some cases, if you have a 1 somewhere, an 8 somewhere, and 2 somewhere, and a 10 somewhere, it means you have a really bumpy ride. You haven't got a balanced life. So what you need to do is identify the areas where you're less than 5 and start working on them. So this year, you're going to make those changes and make sure that you improve these areas one by one. Write down the area, and then the action points that you're going to take. For instance, if if you hate your work and you've scored 0 or 2 on your work, whether you love it or not, start thinking about what could you be doing better at? What are your natural skills? Are you good at talking? Are you good at selling? Are you good at creating? Are you good at cooking? Are you good at painting, drawing? Trust your instincts to direct you there. And the question to ask is, what would you do even if you were not paid for it? So in my case, even if I didn't get paid for it, I would still help people to transform themselves, eat healthy. For me, it's a passion. It's not just a job. It's not just my vocation in life. It's actually what I breathe, what I love doing. So something that you're really passionate about. So same way, go through the others, think about how you can improve each area. And that's when you're going to end up being a multifaceted, happy, joyous person. I think I've done a lot of talking for today. I think we're nearly at the end. Yes. Hallelujah. I can see all of you breathing a sigh of relief. So guys, everybody, transform yourselves this year, commit to it and stick with it. And if you want to follow me and get lots of weekly tips on health and workout and recipes, you can follow me on Insta, Ahlam Ali Transformation, or Facebook, Harley Street Wellbeing, or on YouTube, where I have lots and lots of videos on exercises as well as cooking tips and cooking recipes, etc. So yeah, follow me, send me questions if you like.
So thank you so much, Ahlam, for sharing your knowledge and your experience with us today. We really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure, and thank you to the team. And I loved talking to you guys, as you can see. So yeah, happy to chat about so many different things, just to get everybody thinking healthy. But thanks.
No, it's great. I mean, your advice on how we can make the right choices for each of our meals to allow for an energetic and balanced rest of the day has been most helpful and enlightening. And I think we have some really good practical strategies that we can implement starting tomorrow even.
Brilliant. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.